Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. It's Sunday night live and we're talking Manchester United as per usual. But I'm going to start off with Jadon Sancho issuing a warning to Manchester United in relation to his future. But first of all, let me welcome Ricky's back again. We've got Adam on for the first time on this break. Both fan cameras, of course. How you doing, lads?
Very well, mate. Yeah, fine.
Good. Okay, so let's start off with what this is coming from. It's coming from The Sun, so you could say, you know, take it or leave it. But this is actually my theory that I've had for quite a while, and basically it's saying that Jadon Sancho has given a warning to Manchester United that if you don't get Champions League football, then I don't want to come to Manchester United. We've got quite a lot to get through tonight. But Adam, first time on the show, what's your thoughts about Jadon Sancho, and do you think it would be dependent on Champions League football if we get him, and how likely is that?
The story was it was pretty much dependent last summer. We could have been getting him last summer and it was all down to Champions League football. You could argue that it wasn't the right time for him. Another year at Dortmund probably would have done him good, and it has done him good by the looks of it. So for us, he fits the bill, doesn't he? Because the right-hand side of attack, which we know we've been crying out for God knows how many years, an out-and-out right-hand side of attacking player that can play in numerous formations, which it looks like he can. He adapts really well. I mean, he came under scrutiny earlier on this season when he was a bit out of form. There was a few people on his back, but he's come back from that, which is credit to him and obviously shows what he's got mentally inside. You've got Haaland coming in, a new star come through. It's not fazed him. He's just joined in with everything and still adapted to how they're playing. And for me, it's a no-brainer in terms of the number one target that United should be going for this summer. If he's available and he wants to come to United, Dortmund are up and open for the deal, then United should be all in for this player because he fits our bill. And I think the way sort of Ollie is going with his football at the moment, he fits that even more as well. But like I said, with adaptability with him, if someone else did come in manager-wise, then you wouldn't really be worried about him and his mentality and his temperament in terms of adapting to that again. So, no, he's like I said, he just ticks boxes, doesn't he, for us in terms of what he does, what he brings to a team.
Yeah, and Ricky, I mean, we spoke about Sancho last week as well, but on the point of the Champions League, do you think that will be dependent if he's got a choice between United and we're in the Europa League and Chelsea's in the Champions League? Do you still think he'd fancy United, or do you think he'll go Chelsea?
Well, apparently he seems, I don't know if it's true, but apparently he's said that he wants to be in the Champions League. You know, if he's said that, who are we to say, you know, that he's going to change his mind? If he has said that, getting into the Champions League or not might be completely out of our hands now, mightn't it? You know, so there's obviously different things that can happen. Lots of people saying the league has got to finish, but you know, other people sort of saying, how can they fit it in if this goes on for another 6 weeks? You know, we're in early April, starting again. End of May, early June? They'd probably need 2 weeks training. So, you know, it might be out of our hands if we can get in the Champions League or not. If it was to finish, I think most people seem to think they'd go back to last year's situation, which would mean we'd be in the Europa League. And to be dead honest, if you ask me for my honest opinion, I think that's what's going to happen because I don't know how they're going to fit the games in. I
saw something today about the league and I think it's the UEFA president or somebody was saying that he expects it all to be done by August the 3rd, including Europa League and Champions League, and they don't want it rolling on to September. I mean, Adam, you've not been on yet before. I mean, it's one of the questions I've asked Ricky side, everybody who comes on the show at the moment. What's your feeling about the return of football? Is it something that you think we're going to see, when we're going to see it? What's your take on it at the moment?
I think it's going to be a massive, massive struggle, mate. Ricky's talking about 2 weeks there. I mean, it's such a surreal scenario that we're in right now. And I've said it before on different occasions that, you know what, you're looking at now, every single team coming back to the table now to play football, to start the Premier League up again, and every single player in their squad is going to be available. It's crazy to think that we are going to be able to start this again, knowing that Wimbledon's been cancelled. That's in June? And they're saying that this season has to be played before June. So if one sporting federation is cancelling a major event like Wimbledon,
Olympics
talking
as
like
well.
the Open. Yeah, the Olympics, the Open. If these massive, massive events aren't going ahead, who are the Premier League to actually say that they are determined to get this season finished? I can't see it finishing, mate. I really, really can't. Unless you want to tap into next season and start this season off, or finish this season off into the same time as it is now, or when it finished, then it's not going to happen, mate. It really isn't. I understand the permutations and issues that it brings financially, clubs suing, teams that could be coming up, all this, but at the end of the day, it is a pandemic and it's not a normal scenario. So everyone is suffering right now. We spoke off camera about my business. Clubs are going to suffer. Everyone's got to suffer together. Sport comes second, mate. It's as simple as that. What was it? World War II, the last time Wimbledon was cancelled, and that's gone. That's in June. This league apparently has to be finished by, is it June or July? I can't remember the actual date that they said, but if they're massive federations and sporting federations are cancelling sporting events now, where we're about 2 or 3 months away from that, the Premier League has got no chance in starting up again, in my opinion. I just can't see how they do it. Like Vicky said, how can you get the games in? When does the window open? Do we give the window a miss for a whole season? Which way? There's so many ways that they're going to look at it. I think in the end, it's just going to say, look, it's just a pandemic and it was out of every single person's hands. No one can do anything. There's no way, mate. I just cannot see how they're going to get it in.
Can I add one more thing to that I don't think we've touched on the show last time? Is the players at the minute, they're sort of off, aren't they? They're like everybody else. They're trapped in their homes, maybe to go out for a walk or a run, training at home, things like that. So even though they're off, they can't go anywhere and do anything. So let's say this was to restart. Let's just say it was to restart early June and then be finished by early to mid-July. The players are probably going to want to go away on holiday for a couple of weeks as well. And I know that might sound a little bit like, wow, what you're talking about? We've got to get the football played. But, you know, they're human beings. You know, they're entitled to a couple of weeks off. This doesn't count as time off. Do you understand what I mean? So there'll be quite a few discussions about things like that when it comes to that. So if they do restart at, say, early June, say it's done by mid-July, we normally start in August. The players want a couple of weeks off plus a couple of weeks pre-season. You know what I mean? So it's really tightening up the time that they've got in order to start the next season. Because I don't see them starting if the next season is pushed back too far, obviously it runs into a European Championship summer, and that European Championship summer, at the end of that season, well, not the end of that season, I think it's the middle of that season, they've got the World Cup as well. There's not really time to cramp things up, you know what I mean? So
yeah, we're in that situation, aren't we, already, where we've got the next summer for the European Championships, and then the following Christmas 18 months, it's the World Cup. That's how quick it's going to be. It's going to get very, very crammed together. Just a little bit of housekeeping. We haven't blown the budget in getting the Nemanja Matic on for Ricky. It's not some special This Is Your Life. It actually is Adam who does the fan cams. I know it does look a little bit like Matic. The other thing I would say about the football, because on this I'm quite optimistic that we will get it back. I don't know whether anybody saw it last night. I haven't watched it yet. I used to watch it years ago, but I couldn't believe I saw it on Twitter and stuff. WrestleMania actually happened last night in America with no crowd. But they had blokes grabbing hold of each other, cameramen, everything. I've not watched it. I know some people who do like it, and they were like, it was a bit weird. Took a bit of getting used to. But it just shows you that, you know, we've stopped. You know, there's no sport on in the UK at all. And you've got Americans doing WrestleMania, which is grabbing hold of each other. You know, if we were doing that, we could easily have darts or snooker, something like that that's not a contact sport. And we're not doing anything. So it just shows you, you know, I mean, New York's getting the same death rate as we're getting as a country. And yet they're doing WrestleMania. And I know it was probably not done in New York. But the point is, it's some people are trying to carry things on. I think at the moment we're making a sensible decision in the UK. And I do think in a month's time, with it already starting to drop off in Spain and Italy, we might be in a better situation where we can say, so we're at end of April, we might be able to say in another 6 weeks, we think we're going to be in a good place, middle of June. Footballers start training back, end of May, come back in July. You never know. It could happen. It could happen.
I hope so.
Yeah, we hope so.
Everything's like, you live in hope, don't you? It's a worry about the news coming out of like Beijing, getting like a second wave of it, and then that's the sort of worry. And it's the second string, the second wave that we just don't want to happen. I think that's why they're just taking on everything, just giving it a little bit more time. It's probably the right decision. But like you said, you live in hope, don't you? You just hope that we can, as a country, all come together, do what we're being told to do, and just get rid of it as quick as possible, or learn to live with it, whichever way, what comes first.
It's funny, I was watching, it was very biased against United last night, but I was watching the classic Match of the Day series last night, and they had some good games on there, but they had United when we got beat 5-0. But I still enjoyed it because I haven't watched those for years, and I'm not really into watching full matches again. I know they want to show Euro 96 again in May, and I was like, loads of people were retweeting it. Oh yeah, they're going to show all the games again. Gaza still misses that chance. We still bloody lose. You know, I'd rather just watch an hour of a Euro 96 highlights rather than sit there watching all the games again. I watched the treble game. We did it on the channel last week, and I said to Droy, that's the last one I'm doing because I loved that game. It was really interesting, but it's not the same. You can't. But the highlights, they work quite well. I quite enjoyed that. Next one I want to get your opinions on. This was, I think it came out yesterday from The Athletic. I mentioned it on the show this morning, but I want to get your opinions on it. Jesse Lingard being linked with a move to Arsenal. I mean, Adam, start with you again. What do you think about that? But more importantly, because I think I know where you're going to go. Do you think Arsenal will sign Lingard? But do you see a future for Lingard at United, or do you think it's time to go? Do you think this break might be a good chance for him to get another chance again?
I literally just spoke about this on my channel as well. I was talking about Lingard going to Arsenal, and first thing people came back to me and said was, "Can you imagine DT if Lingard signs for Arsenal?" Oh my God! But in terms of that move happening, I don't see it. To be honest, I really don't see it. I just don't see Lingard fitting in with what Arsenal need to change as a team. It doesn't fit for me, in my opinion, doesn't fit what they need right now. They need a little bit more strength, spine to the team, a little bit more solidifying that back line more than anything else. And we all know not many clubs are going to have money in the summer. Arsenal don't have money already. So for me, all depending on price, I just don't see Arteta buying him. In terms of Lingard for United, I don't see him having a future at all. I think him joining up with Mino Raiola was the final straw with United fans. In terms of, I know it sounds a little bit out there just to say it because he's changed agents, but you know what? We've seen Ollie losing it with him on the sideline. You don't see that often. His days are numbered at United. If he wants to stay and be some sort of squad player, but a squad player right now for Lingard, as we've seen over the last few weeks, isn't even getting on the bench anymore, mate. So I just don't see it for him. I feel like he's the one who's actually going to make the decision now, I think. If he goes, I think it'll be Lingard handing in a request, because I do feel like he thinks that his time is coming to an end at United as well. As much as he'd want to stay, and he's obviously boyhood Manchester United, at this stage of his career now, 28, it's your make or break move now, isn't it? It's your last move if you're going to still be in the top flight. And for me, he's just not getting on the bench. Like I said, when we come back, Lingard is nowhere near that matchday squad, is he, if everyone's fit? Let's be honest. So the next time United play football, with everyone to pick from, are you getting Jesse Lingard in that squad? And I think that answers the question. Lingard has to make the decision himself now. I think he must know that his days are numbered at United.
Ricky, anything to add on that in relation to Lingard?
I agree. I think with everything he said there, I think Arsenal would be a good move for him. I'd be surprised if a club as big as Arsenal come in for him, if I'm honest. I know it was in the, I don't know who wrote it, but it was in The Athletic, wasn't it? That Arsenal did in him. I don't see him getting too much more game time at Arsenal than he would get if he was playing for United. So I can't see that.
It's interesting with Lingard, but the reason I said, do you think the situation that we're living through at the moment could change it, is because actually, Lingard's had a terrible year. Really, he's had loads of chances, and you think about Gomez and Mata, they've not had as many chances as Lingard's had in that number 10 role. And he's failed, let's be honest. That's not harsh. As a footballer, he's failed, and I know he's got problems going on. But I just think, will United, because in this time of no football and United are trying to do their social media stuff, well, this is where Jesse Lingard becomes the star player again, isn't he? Because he knows what he's doing. MUTV are probably bringing him up saying, Jesse, we can't even log on to Twitter. We don't know what to do. And he's like, yes, give me all the admin. I know what to do. I can do your live Instagram. I can do your live Hangouts. So you can do a lot. And he has been on a lot. And I know for a fact that United really do value Lingard for that sort of thing. It's why when we have a new kit, he's always modelling it. It's this modern world that we live in that, you know, Pogba's good at both because he's good on the pitch and he's good off the pitch. But Lingard, unfortunately, isn't great on the pitch, but he's great off the pitch at that. And you can't. So I don't know what you think about that, Adam. Do you think that is something United take into account, considering we are a money farm?
Well, that's it, isn't it? You look on it from both sides. You look at it from a fan side, and all we do is we criticise, we give our opinions on the game, we go support the team and the players, and then that's the one side of football. We see it from that side more than any other. But when you break it down, you actually have time to think about things. Like you said, then Ed Woodward's thinking, like you said, first name on the team sheet for a kit launch is Jesse Lingard. Makes all the right moves. He dances the right way. He wears the right things on his social media. He's got his own YouTube channel already. You know what I mean? If there's anyone to boost the clothing brand or anything like that, then Lingard's your man, isn't he? He knows all the avenues because he does it all himself. I mean, we all know the incident that Roy Keane spoke about before we got battered by Liverpool about him launching his clothing brand then. And you know what? I didn't hear anything past that from what the club did. If he got punished for it at all. You can't really punish a player for living a life. I know that. Ill-timed, yes. But in the end of it, you're sort of looking at a money-making scheme that United are just ridiculous at making money. And it's just what it is. It's the nature of the beast with this club at the moment. The football, it has been great recently over the last few weeks. But to be honest, it's always looked on as a second thing with United right now in terms of the players that get contracts are the ones that are underperforming. But these players are the ones that don't do anything, don't say anything bad against the club. The ones that are making money off the pitch for the club, like Lingard is. And it's, you know what I mean? If you don't say anything at United like Phil Jones does, then you stay at the club forever. You know what I mean? If you don't move, you don't kick up a fuss or anything like that, you can turn into Carrington in your yellow Porsche any day of the week and carry on, can't you? But Lingard, if you like it or not, he makes this club money. Like you just said, then it's as simple as that. And it could be looked at that way. Now he's gone with Raiola. I do think that is going to be the final nail for me. I really do, because the way the club has a stance now, I do think that is a sign, and that's the biggest sign. If you want to take it that way or not, I do feel like that is the biggest sign that Lingard has had his final season at United. Did we finish this or not? I do.
Yeah, I think the Raiola thing is quite interesting. How Lingard sort of stays at United with Raiola there doesn't make sense, because I know Lingard might be looking at a new contract, but Raiola would be looking at ridiculous money, and he's not earned that, has he? So I can't see that. A few people have actually mentioned Ricky. I think it'd be a good question for you. So this Liverpool furlough thing has sort of shocked football this weekend. I'm very shocked by it. Last week, Spurs did it, where, for anybody who doesn't know, basically the government are going to pay 80% of people's wages if people sort of stop working. Like if businesses shut down, so if it's like a pub or any business that's basically shut at the moment, the government are saying that they'll pay 80% of the staff, the 80% of the wages. Now, football clubs last week, Norwich, Spurs, Bournemouth, I think, were talking about it, got a lot of criticism for it. Liverpool have jumped on it this weekend and said they're going to do the same. I hope and pray United won't do it, Ricky, but what are your thoughts on that?
I'm absolutely astonished that Liverpool have said that. Absolutely astonished, and there's quite a lot of backlash even in Liverpool about it.
Yeah.
I'm over the moon. United haven't done it. Sorry, but a big pat on the back to the Glazers. You know, let's be honest. Most people would probably think they might be the first people to jump on something like that. And I heard you say today on the show, it isn't necessarily the end of it. Maybe in a few weeks' time, if it's still going, they might say, sod this. We can get the government to pay 80% of this money. So it could change. I'm sure it's something that you can ask for at any stage. You don't have to ask for it straight away. So fingers crossed it doesn't change. But at the minute, well done to them.
Yeah, it is interesting. And I think, like you say, a lot of people in Liverpool aren't happy about it because, Liverpool's a bit of a Labour centre, and they won't be happy about Tories paying them off, not paying them off, but keeping them going. I don't agree with it. I think it's poor. Got a question here. Sagar Kapoor says, I'd love to know Ricky and Adam's verdicts on Ollie and his football and coaching. Where do they see us heading with him at the helm? So Adam, Ollie, it was a good question actually. We've had this break now. Where do you think we were heading or are heading, I suppose, with Ollie now? There wasn't that long ago where people were thinking he wouldn't really survive the end of the season. We might not see the end of that season, so you'd expect him to be given another chance.
Yeah, I don't see Ollie going anywhere at all at the moment. As there's obviously the definite Ollie out is still out there, which you're never going to change their opinion on that. They've seen enough already. They've seen enough crap, which was obviously at the start of the season. Things did start to turn. I think it was round about the time before we played Spurs and City in back-to-back games. Mourinho and Pep Guardiola in the same week. It was all built up like it was Ollie's last week, and we won both games. And that sort of gave him that little bit of time to get to January. And we all know what happened in January. We thought it was going to be a nightmare. It was coming down till last week and nothing was happening. We was all losing our minds, thinking, why are we still not spending any money? But Bruno Fernandes come in. The best work that Ollie has done is inevitably off the pitch, in my opinion. Yeah, so football has got a lot better. It's getting there in stages when Plan A works. When Plan A doesn't work, it's a different ballgame. United, that's where we have been struggling. But off the pitch, you can't really criticise Ollie and the players that he's brought on, the players he's brought in, and the players that he's got rid of. I mean, a lot of people argued with the Lukaku one. Lukaku obviously has been running his mouth recently as well. And funny enough, I don't know if you've seen the picture, the screenshot of Ricky's man Matic there coming onto a live stream on Instagram of Lukaku telling him to shut up, which was, I don't know if it was tongue in cheek, but the pictures there all over social media, Matic actually coming onto Lukaku's live stream and telling him to shut up. But you could argue with Ollie on the pitch, and that's where a lot of people would say in-game management is where he struggled. He's still a young manager. Is he going to get the time at United to get better at his trade? You know, it's hard to say. You've just got to look at certain stages and things that have happened through the season, and you go, is that enough for me to carry him on into a new season? Just because we've got to take it season by season. My question was, and I spoke with Flex about this on Instagram the other day, is it down to the owners now with Ole? Do we treat Ole like previous managers? If you don't get Champions League football, you're gone, which has basically been the ethos of the owners with every manager after Ferguson. Are we treating Ollie differently because he's a club legend? Are they changing scope? Or are the Glazers basically just going to let this one ride out and Ed Woodward and subtly say, look, we're changing, we've made mistakes before by getting rid of managers too quickly? A lot of people said that Van Gaal should never have gone. He was into his third season. We'd just won a trophy. Some of the players were starting to get on board with what he was doing, and longevity is the only way that this club is going to be able to turn the corner. A manager who is in for a long enough spell of time to change the players, to get them playing the way he wants to play, to get rid of 4 other managers' players and get them playing the way he wants. For me, Ollie is going to be there next season no matter what. And I think he's going to be judged solely, I think, when we kickstart again, which I think will be in the new season, from there on in, because people would say that he got lucky this season because it's finished early. But for me, I mean, I've seen enough to give him another chance going into next season. I've seen players starting to play better. I've seen him bring through youth players and give them the right chance, not playing them consistently like the way he treated Brandon Williams. He sort of moulded that on Ferguson's ethos of playing them for a few games, then thinking that they were then there and nailed on. Then they rested them and then playing for a few more games. So he's done a lot of stuff right, Ollie. And I think that, for me, and it's just my opinion, I think he's done enough to see it through to another season at least anyway. Because, you know what, we could have won the Europa League, we could have won the FA Cup, we could have got in the top 4. All 3 of them were there for the taking, and we was well in all 3 of them competitions. We're pretty much there in the last 16 Europa League already. The FA Cup, we had an easy draw. We was on our way to Wembley. I'd have expected us to have beat Norwich. And you never know. Top 4 was right there. Chelsea were hiccuping. Our players were coming back. Pogba was coming back. How was he going to come back in? And you know what, mate? There was a lot of players. We went through a season where one or two players were playing well, and that's where we struggled. Going into the end of this season, before it finished, we had 5 or 6, I would say, who were playing the best football they've played for United at the same time, and that was the difference for me. And that's where I thought, you know what? I'm just seeing something a little bit different now. And I'll let Ricky get in on it now because I'm going on with myself a little bit.
Well, it's interesting because I was going to say this to Ricky because I know you've had your say on Ollie before, but this is a little bit of new news and I can give you a different sort of angle here. So Van Gaal has been speaking and he said that talking about how he was treated badly by United, which he sort of hinted at before. But he was saying that, you know, they were making moves behind my back from the January. Didn't matter what I did, I was gone. Effectively, Mourinho was coming in the January. And there are echoes of what Ollie's situation in January was with Van Gaal, with Mourinho knowingly being available, Pochettino knowingly being available. Very similar seasons. You know, Van Gaal actually did finish in 4th. We finished in 5th because of goal difference. He won an FA Cup. So Ollie could do a very similar situation where maybe he does get 4th, maybe he's 5th, maybe he wins a cup. But it feels like, well, have United learned a lesson or are they making a mistake? They set that precedent with Van Gaal, but it seems to me that they, like Adam says, they will give Ollie time, even though the situation is there again to bring in a potentially better manager in Pochettino who's available.
Since you mentioned Van Gaal, I was devastated when they sacked Van Gaal, if I'm honest. I've got to mention that. I really thought he was getting somewhere, Van Gaal. Lots of people say to me, it was slow and boring football and too many passes, but he was trying to build a team in that mould of like City and Liverpool are playing now with lots and lots of passing. All right, we didn't have quite as good players as they've got, but we were, I think we were heading that way. But anyway, that's not the question. I would have kept Van Gaal. I was gutted that he went. On the subject of Ollie being in a similar position that he was in, it's anyone's guess, really, isn't it? I think, you know, obviously we've improved in this second half of the season, which is now probably finished. I think. I think he's probably just about done enough to be worth his chance. But if they've already got somebody lined up, and if they've already spoke to Pochettino, you know, we don't know, do we? We didn't know it was happening with Mourinho, although it was rumoured. But then again, it's rumoured now about, you know, are they speaking to Pochettino? I don't know. It's anybody's guess, Mark. Anybody's guess.
I'll whiz through this question from Philip Burtonwood. Just I'm gonna mould it a little bit because he says, question for Adam and Ricky: what signings would they like to come in United? I'm going to change it a little bit so that we don't dwell on it for ages because we've got loads to talk about. If you could make one signing this summer, which one would you go with, Adam?
One signing this summer, I'll bring in Sancho. I do feel like it's a position that we clearly need to improve on, that we can improve on with the player that's available. So I would look at a signing and say, I said this to people on my channel the other day as well, it's like, which position do we need to prioritise more? For me, the holding midfielder, when everyone comes back fit, like I said, everyone's had more rest than they've ever had in their whole career. I don't think we desperately need that. A lot of our players out there that can improve that position for us. Right now, to add another dimension to our game, Sancho is the one for me, definitely for that right-hand side. Holding midfield, we've got enough midfielders there right now, I do feel. Like Matic played the best football he's played for United, I think, in the last 3 months by a mile. He's obviously signed his new year one-year deal. Fred's had the best period of his career at United. I think it was 22, 23 games in a row he started, which showed pretty much the loyalty that Ollie was starting to give him in there. Then you've got McTominay, you've got Bruno in there. If Pogba's coming back, Sancho, definitely.
Ricky, one signing?
I think I like the look. I actually think, I don't know if Ighalo's going to sign or going to stay.
Apparently he wants to. He said if the contract extension's there, he'll sign it. Basically, it depends how much money's there as well. People fall into that trap. He said he wants to stay, but yeah, he says he'll sign the contract extension. He ain't going to do it for 50 grand, is he? When he's been offered 400 in China. So
yes, the money's got to be right. If we're going to actually buy another person in, I won't mind another striker. I like Jimenez, or however you pronounce it. I'm not sure how old he is. Do you know how old he is, Mark? He's
28.
Is that what he is? Yeah.
Yeah, right. 28, 29, yeah.
Not too old, although plenty of lads on here say 30 is too old, so is there any point in signing a 28-year-old? Yeah, I like Jimenez, and I like the idea of having competition for Marshall at number 9, and Marshall can also play in the wide areas. So I'd go for Jimenez at Wolves, mate.
Vandy Candy says McGinn's the signing we need. I think McGinn's a good player, but I think if we're all having our one signing, I think most people are going to not vote McGinn. I think if that was a family fortunes, it would be not the top answer. But yeah, I think for me, even though I wasn't asked, I think for me, I would probably say Sancho, because I just think right wing's our big area that we need to improve next season. I don't think right wing's Dan James' place. I think he's a better on the left, to be honest. But I think we need a new right winger. We're about halfway through the show, so thanks everyone who's watching. Please share the video underneath and smash a like on it. This was interesting. I didn't even pick up this on the morning show this morning. David Not Dave says David Not Dave. Football 365 are reporting Sanchez to West Ham. Opinions. Well, look, I'm not saying Football 365 are reliable. I'd give him to West Brom. Anything beginning with West at the moment, I'd give him to bloody Fred West. But it's I wouldn't really do that. But he's dead anyway, isn't he? And I'm not going to say rest in peace, evil man. But in relation to Alexis Sanchez, Adam, it's a difficult question for you. You get difficult questions on here. I don't think anyone's going to give him the wages. So I think he has to come back in the summer. What do you do with a player that Ollie basically was going to give a chance to? If you remember was it start of August? I'm going to give him a chance. 2 weeks he'd gone. He basically, I've been told by many people close to the club, he told Ollie, I want out. So Ollie had to loan him. So he's coming back into a good community of players at the moment. We've got a good feel there. You're going to drop in a player who's also going to be the best paid player in the club. You don't want to be there. It's not good for morale, is it? But what do you do?
No, I literally just spoke about the West Ham rumour myself then to someone. It was like, you know what? If there was ever a signing that had West Ham writ all over it with their owners, it would be Alexis Sanchez, wouldn't it? It just perfect for them, but they're never ever realistically going to be able to afford that guy's wage. Someone said to me, why don't we do a swap deal with Igalo and his Chinese club and send Sanchez the other way just to make weight and he'd get his wages? It's the only way you're going to get Sanchez happy with what he's earning. There's no team, no club in England will pay him what he wants. There was only United in the first place, and now we want rid of him. He wants gone, but at the end of the day, he's going to sit on it and do a Gareth Bale, isn't he, at Real Madrid? There's nowhere else for him to go because no one can afford him. Literally, he would probably fit into some teams better than what he's fitted into United, yes, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to money, mate. And what do you do with someone like Sanchez? Some people would say, you know what, take the loss and buy him out of his contract, just get rid of him, spend the money on getting rid of an headache, because I can't see anyone in England going for him.
20 million. That would cost about 20 million. I think he's got 3 years left on his contract, 400 grand a week. That's about 1 point something a month, isn't it? It's more than 20 million to buy him out. So
that's it, and it's like, would you spend 20 million getting rid of him?
There was a comment there. Do you think Ricky? I'll go to Ricky there. Do you think he can offer anything? I mean, you're a champion of the, somewhat players that get a little bit of stick, the Matic, the Mata. Could Sanchez join the Ricky club? Do you think he's got anything left in him? Because I watched him against Southampton. I've said it many times. A year ago, I was actually at Old Trafford. And he's a prime example of what I'm like when I play football. The brain's giving, but the body ain't. And he's just lost. I don't think you can get yards of pace back.
Yeah, I watched a couple of Inter Milan games that he played in, and I thought he did quite well.
Slower league, though, isn't it?
Yeah, some people say, but I'm not too sure about that. But I think, look, if West Ham are interested in him, what would he be prepared to take a pay cut? And I don't mean like ridiculously low money, but could something work where maybe, I don't know how much West Ham can afford? Could they pay him 125 a week? We pay him 125 a week. He gets 250 grand a week. Has he got any pride? Does he want to play football? Would he take that pay cut to play football? What do you think?
Well, I think he's on at least 350 a week, maybe rumoured 400 a week. So I don't think he's going to go, I'll go and play with David Moyes for 250. I just don't see it. I do feel sorry for Ollie because this is not his problem. This is Woodward and Mourinho's plan. And it's a bit like Ozil with Arteta. You know, they're stuck with this player that really is a massive problem, but you can't stick him in the reserves. You can't. I just think it's a massive problem to deal with the club. And anyway, we'll move on from that. I don't want to dwell on the negativity of Sanchez, but it was a fair question. On a more positive, I quite liked this from Twan Sebi today. I think he's been a bit unlucky this season, but he's talking about the next generation of players, and I think the class of '92 got mentioned in the article. I don't think it was mentioned by Axel. If it was, then maybe he did say that. But I just thought for a bit of fun and a bit of interaction with the live comments, I'm going to name 5 players. I'm just going to get your two's opinion on each one as to what sort of future they're going to have at United. Do you think they'll end up at Preston? Do you think there'll be a bench player? Do you think there will be a first-team player of the future? And get involved in the live comments as well. So we'll start off, Adam. We'll start off with Axel Twan Sebi. What do you feel about him in the future at United? Where do you think he's going?
Like you just said, Denmark, I thought he has been unlucky with injuries this season. I think this season probably would have been better in playing at Aston Villa for another season, get a full season in the Premier League under his belt. He's obviously he is sorely missed at Aston Villa right now in their backline. You can see it and how they've struggled. So him staying at Villa this season probably was the ideal situation. If I see a future in Axel Tuanzebe, I think he's got the physicality already at an early age. I think he's there. He's decent on the ball. He can get better, but like all these players you're probably going to mention now, it's a sort of potential shout and what you can see coming rather than what he's got right now. I think he's...
Don't worry, lads. I'm going to clip this off, keep it in my save folder, and then when you get it wrong, I'm just going to play it on Twitter. So, it's like a prediction.
I think Axel has got a future at United, personally. I do think he's probably going to be like a squad player at United. I think in the Wes Brown sort of mould, I would say right now, looking at what we've got there. I don't see him getting in the first team right now. And then by the time he's 23, who else would we have bought? You really have to come on the scene quickly as a player and stamp your authority if you're going to be a first team player at United. I see him in the Wes Brown sort of mould, like a third, fourth choice centre-back at United. That's how I see it, mate, honestly.
Ricky, Twan Sebi, what about you? I
like him. Quick, strong. Definitely got all the athleticism. He had. I thought he was having a good game against Arsenal. He played against Arsenal, didn't he? Then ended up giving a slack pass that led to the equaliser, which was a blow for the lad. If I've got to make a prediction on him, I will say he will have a decent career in the game, but not with Man United.
Yeah, I'm going to play as well because I wasn't going to play, but it just gets me thinking. I mean, we've got people playing bench player. Michael Shout says Twan Sebi is better than Lindelof. Axel and Bailly can rotate. Twan Sebi better than Lindelof, says Zilla United. And Axel is better than Bailly, Simon Wright. I think my prediction is I'm probably going to go with what Adam's saying there, bench player maybe. Ricky might be right, he might end up going elsewhere. My concern with Twan Sebi is I think his opportunity came in October. He was going to start over Lindelof, and I think that was his chance, and he got injured. And I know from living in the Midlands, he got injured a couple of times for Villa as well, and he missed a few months. And I'm just a little bit worried with him that is he going to be another of those centre-backs at United who doesn't grab his opportunity because of injury? So young players, you need to stay fit. I always say this about Greenwood and Rashford. I think they can be great if they can stay fit, because if you lose a bit of time as a young player, you very quickly become 23 and then, it's gone. It's gone very quickly. So, yeah, I hope he can. I like him, but I think he's got to grab his opportunity when it comes next because he might start to run out of them. We'll go to you, Ricky, on this next one. McTominay.
McTominay, I think he's going to be a big star for United. I really do. Big star. Big strong lad. Lots of energy. Gets around the park. Great enthusiasm for the game. Got a bit of a goal threat about him. He's got, for a midfield player, really, he's got a fair few league goals this season, I think, hasn't he? Maybe 4. And he scores good goals as well. A cracking goal against Arsenal. Obviously took that great against City. Even his goal away to Norwich when he was about to running back towards his own goal and managed to nick the ball and shoot first time into the far corner while he was on the turn. He scores good goals. He's got a proper, genuine goal threat, McTominay. Burst into the box well. I remember a game dead early in the season where he ran into the box and got a short layoff from Marshall and won a penalty. I think McTominay's got a good future with United, definitely.
Do you think, but on future, do you think he's a first teamer or do you think he's a bench player?
Yeah, first teamer, yeah, I do.
Okay. Yeah. Adam?
Scott McTominay, at worst, is the new Darren Fletcher, Nicky Butt at Manchester United, and that's a compliment on its own. I do think he ain't going any other club in his career, I don't think. I think he is nailed down as one of these players that's going to sit his whole career. He loves the club. The fans love him. The fact that he's come through the youth players, and we all know how United fans treat the youth players coming through who have grafted. And you know what? He had to battle with some decent players to get in that central midfield, and he's held his own every time he's been on the pitch. He's matured this season even more. I agree with what Ricky said there. He has this season. He's gone up. He's stepped up, which is another positive under Ole. And I do feel like he's. I can't see him ever leaving the club. That's just the way it comes across. If you said to any United player coming through that youth rank, said you're going to have a career at United like Darren Fletcher or Nicky Butt, I'm sure every one of them would snatch your hand off at that, because you know what I mean. They are quality players, not the superstars, which I don't think he will be superstar level, but he is at United the rest of his career for me.
I think with McTominay, much of it depends on what United become. I think if United stay how they have been for the last 6 years as a sort of fighting around fourth place, he'll be a first teamer. I think if United become like we've seen them in our life as Premier League champions and challengers, I think he will become a Darren Fletcher, who is a massive part of the squad. You know, Darren Fletcher, Nicky Butt, they ain't sitting on the bench. They're playing a lot of games, but it's just when you've got your best team, maybe they start on the bench for the big games. So, but he might surprise me and become a first teamer in a champions side. So I think McTominay has got a big future. It just depends on United. At the moment, I would say he will be a fringe player like a Darren Fletcher more than a key first teamer. But he's still got a lot of growth. And I don't know whether you heard what Troy Deeney said, Ricky, about Matic. He said he was really talking up Matic, playing against him for Watford the other week. And he said, just a fantastic player. And Scott McTominay will be a better player in 2 years because he's working with Matic. So that was quite an interesting thing from Troy Deeney, because I know you want to talk about the Fred thing.
Sorry, guys, I can't hear anything at the moment. I can't hear anything that you're saying, Mark. I don't know what's happened to my sound. I don't know if Ricky can hear anything. I can't hear any of you. Sorry.
I can hear fine.
Can you hear us now? No. Maybe come out and come in. This happened to you last week as well, Ricky, didn't it?
Oh, shit.
Like, we'll just kick him out for a bit and then he can come back. What we saw. Yeah, we'll go on to that point there.
McTominay can learn from Matic, definitely. And as you get a bit of an older head, bit more experience, I think you realise the importance of playing the role of a central defensive midfield player that Matic plays. Now, McTominay at the minute, same as Fred, fantastic energy, get all over the park, but you do need in a top class midfield, you need one central midfield player who doesn't vacate the space in front of the back four, who's nearly always, I mean, occasionally something dictates that you do go out of position, but you do need a player who's going to hold that position and not run all over the field. And, you know, all the fans love the players who show all the energy and run around like headless chickens at times. I don't really mean that, obviously, but, you know, at times that's what it is like. You chase the ball everywhere. You know, and Matic generally holds his ground 15 yards in front of the back four. Michael Carrick used to do it for us. There's been some great players over the years played that role for different clubs that have won things, and Matic does it great, and McTominay can learn from him, but there's no need for him to play that role at the minute. His energy, getting round the field, being a goal threat. it's a nice balance, if you like. It's a nice balance.
Right, we'll see if Adam's going to try and come back on here. Let's see if we can work. Can you hear us now, Adam?
Yeah, I'm back. Christ, tonight, what's going on?
It's all right. This happened to Ricky last week, but he didn't. He could hear me, but not Saeed. So I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing. But you lost both of us, so that's quite important.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Ricky was just talking about McTominay there, so we'll move to the next one, and you can go first on this one, Adam. Then, so we've done Tuanzebe, we've done McTominay. Angel Gomez. It's a hard one, Angel Gomez, isn't it? Because it's a bit of a jump into the unknown.
It is, because it's like you said, we've only seen him in under 23s, and that's all any United fan can say, because we haven't seen enough of him to say what potential he's got. We can all say potential from the under 23s, but we know that that's a totally different kettle of fish. And until he starts getting more game time, then we're really not going to know. For me,
20 in August.
Yeah, that's it, mate. For me, I don't see him having a future at United just because of what's going on. I mean, I can comment about his talent, but reality is the way things are going and the way they're working. We've seen this before. If you're not getting the game time coming up to 20, then you ain't getting in that United team, are you? I mean, Chong's had more chances than him, which was strange because he was the one who was rumoured to be looking to go away. All Angel Gomez has said is he wants a career at United. He wants to win trophies at United. I think he commented on that. I think he said that today. I think it was, or yesterday he said that himself. So, I mean, it's hard to see him being at United. It really is. I'm not saying that from a talent basis because I know what the lad's got. In the under-23s, he's the best player in the league. But unless we see him in a first team under different circumstances and different pressure, then we can't really say he's going to be at United. So for me, just my honest opinion on how things are moving along in terms of the way they're working off the pitch, I don't see him having a future at United.
It's interesting because Paul Robinson is one of our moderators, and I was thinking this as well. He says McTominay was about 21, 22 when he came into the team, and Angel Gomez is quite small. He's probably going to be this sort of creative player. Of course, Ricky, it's whether he signs the bloody contract because he can go for free anyway. So that's a point like Adam was saying there. I mean, that probably leads to think that he may have a future away from United. What do you think?
I think he's going to have to leave. I think he's. I do prefer players with a bit of size and strength about them. I think that's obvious.
Mata's not though. Mata, not the biggest, is he?
Particularly small, though, isn't he? He's particularly small. I think he's only something like 5'4" or something. He's
very small, yeah.
Very, very short. I don't see him having a career at the top level, if I'm honest. Never mind at United.
I would. I think he's. I think I'd agree. I like Gomez, but I don't see him having a first team future at United. And whatever that reason will be, it might be that he just walks in the summer. We don't know. Next one, Ricky, I'll go to you first on this one. Brandon Williams, good season for him. What's his long term future at United? Do you think, if you're predicting it?
Yeah, I think he's got a future. Well, this is a good topic for me. This because I mentioned when he came into the team and got 3 or 4 games. I was on with Flex after the games 2 or 3 times, where I said Luke Shaw needs to play, and no, absolutely everybody was saying, "No, he's mad. It's got to be Williams. It's got to be Williams." And Luke Shaw has now commanded the place at left back, or obviously Williams gets a game when we play with a back 5, and Shaw shifts over to centre back, doesn't he? So right now, Shaw's the man in possession. If Shaw stays fit, Williams is going to have a right job getting a game in front of Shaw. But you do need a squad, and I do think he's a quality squad player who eventually could become first team starter. But right now, and if Shaw stays, I mean, Shaw's how old? Shaw about 24, 25 perhaps.
I think he's 25. Yeah,
25. If Shaw keeps fit, it could take Williams five years to get a regular spot. So whether he'd hang around that long, I don't know. There's no reason why Shaw shouldn't be playing at least that long in the left back spot for me.
Brandon Williams is actually a month younger than Gomez. He's not a 20 till September, so
I like him though. I think but you can only play 11. I do like Williams. I think he's got a future. Like I said about Tuanzebe, he might have to go somewhere else to have a good career and play regularly. But he's certainly a good player.
Adam, Brandon Williams' future?
Oh, this is where I differ from Ricky on certain things. I see Brandon Williams being, I think he's future captain material, mate. I really do. I really do rate this kid. I think he's got a mature head on his shoulders. That's why I rate him. I think he has made Luke Shaw better this season already just by giving him that. Ricky touched on competition for places. This is Manchester United. You're going to get that at Manchester United. If you expect to come to United or turn up on United and play there every single week without competition and behind you, then you're sorely mistaken. And this is what's happened with a few players this season. Once we've had a bit of a squad, you've seen a difference in players and they've changed. I call this down on, I think McTominay is the best thing that's happened to Matic. I think Brandon Williams is the best thing that's happened to Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw, like Ricky said, has stepped up. He's stepped up big time over these last 2 months. And I do put that down to a lot of competition coming in behind him now. The strength in our squad is getting better, especially at the back. We're looking like we know who our back four is pretty much. If we play a back five, we definitely know who it is. And that says it all there in that, because like Ricky said there, if it's a back five, we know who's playing. Straight out of the box, we know who's playing. It's a back four, probably Luke Shaw right at the moment. But it's like when the younger lads came through, the class of 92 came through, they came through in dribs and drabs. And this is like what I said, Ollie's done with Brandon Williams. He plays him a few games, he sees a few mistakes in Brandon Williams, which he's bound to have, and then takes him out again. I think Luke Shaw has gone, you know what, this is my spot here now. I'm fit. I'm not letting this young kid come through and taking this away from me. And I think Brandon Williams has made Luke Shaw a better player. And that says a lot on its own as well. I do think that Brandon Williams has a strong chance. He's future material at United. I 100% think that. That's just my opinion. I know I just see it in that way. I may look at things slightly different to what Ricky has, but I just see a load of potential in him. I really do. I just think he's mature beyond his years, and he's captained the under-23s. He's come through. I think if Luke Shaw wasn't there, I think Brandon Williams probably would have been getting a shout for the England this summer. But because we're lucky, and now we're looking like we've got two quality left-backs, I think Brandon Williams would play the wing-back role better than what Shaw would. But right now, defensively, I would probably say Shaw is slightly better on the defensive side of it. I think Brandon Williams is better going forwards. That's why a back five worked perfect for him, because he knows he's got Shaw in behind him. And he plays even better with Shaw there. But like Ricky said then, you can only pick 11 players. And it's good that we've actually got this conversation going. We're struggling to pick a back line because it's what we've always wanted. And you know what? This season, we've seen it happen in a few positions. And now we're talking like it's a bit more of a positive. And I like the way it's going.
Can I say one more thing about Brandon Williams? I like the fact that he's playing at left back all the time, but he's right-footed.
That's true.
I don't know if he came through playing as left back through, with all the young teams. I don't really know. But being right-footed, without a shadow of a doubt, he can cover at right back as well. I remember the years when we had Phil Neville on the bench, and he was perfectly adept at playing right back or left back with Phil Neville, even in midfield at times. So Brandon Williams is a perfect squad player for that reason, that he can cover on both full-back spots.
Zane's just saying there that he hopes that Arsenal and United don't go for government taxpayers' money. Not surprising, Spurs did. Club with no class at a wasted stadium and a rubbish history. Well, Arsenal fans are going to say that about Spurs. You might say about Liverpool, but I think Liverpool fans also aren't that happy about it. It's funny what Adam was saying about class of 92, because my word on Brandon Williams is he reminds me a lot of Phil Neville. Phil Neville had a very good career, can play left back and right back. Josh was just saying there about red cards with Brandon. I think he is a little bit ill-disciplined, but that so much of it with Brandon is youth. I think we saw against City, Mahrez gave him a right run around. But so what? He's a 19-year-old. You're going to get run around by one of the best wingers in the game at the moment. And Luke Shaw switched over and put him in his pocket because Luke Shaw's the more experienced left back at the moment. So I think Brandon Williams is one I can't really make my mind up about. I think he might have a sort of Phil Neville career where he can do a couple of jobs very, very well. But he's only 19, and in 2 years, he might be the best left back in England. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen with him. I'll do one more. It's very difficult with this one. I suppose we're talking about... Well, no, it's not. It might not be that difficult. Mason Greenwood, Adam, what do you think for him?
Well, Mason Greenwood, dozen goals already, and it feels like he's hardly started a game this season. People can say, yeah, it was against poor opposition, but you know what? United this season against poor opposition, we've had some quality players on them pitches who've also failed in them games. So people can throw at me, yeah, he only played Carabao Cup, Europa League games. Well, Martial, Rashford, you know what? All our other best forwards, they all played in these games as well and didn't perform. So for me, Greenwood he's going to be a star. He is going to be an absolute star. If it be at United, I think it will be. But one way or another, the kid has got talent beyond his years. The comparisons to Van Persie, very, very... to be honest, I think he can be better than Van Persie in time because he plays with both feet. I mean, who do you know who scores 2 free kicks in one game? I know it's in reserves and under 23s again, but one with either foot. The kid has got talent, and the fact that he's younger than any of the players that we're talking about right now, he's 2 years behind pretty much all of them, says it all. He's 12 goals this season. I mean, come on, it says it all, doesn't it? I mean, he's hardly started a game. He's got time to get better, which is why I think he is going to be top of my list as the one who is going to be the shining light. He has got superstar qualities for me in his game. He's 18. He's already hitting the highs. He's probably had a better opening season than what the likes of Ronaldo did. I think his stats and his numbers are better than Rooney's. I don't know if that's right. Someone said that the other day. I know it's worlds apart and different players and different eras, but for me, Greenwood is 100% going to be an absolute star at United. I'm just going to plug my charger in as well while you're talking to Ricky.
Of course. Ricky, Mason Greenwood, how good can he be for United if you're predicting it?
He's got 2 great feet. Is he 18? Is he?
18, not 19 till September, I think.
So it isn't. I mean, lots of people have been on my case about me saying this. He's not quite strong enough yet, in my opinion. He's scored some good goals. When he starts games, and I said this the other week, and somebody jumped on me on Twitter saying every time he starts, he scores. When he starts, I think he struggles. You know, he got subbed at City at half-time when he started. The game against Watford at Old Trafford the other week, I think he struggled in the first half. He got a goal in the second half. I don't think he's yet strong enough to be starting. Now, what we don't know, and thousands of people will say we do know. Adam will probably say we do know. I'm telling you, we don't know if he's going to get that. We don't know that for sure. Hopefully he does. If he becomes strong enough, he's going to be a big star. But we don't know for sure that that's going to happen. My prediction is he's going to have a really good career in the game, but I'm not going to necessarily say that's at United.
It's interesting with Greenwood because I think a lot of it sort of depends on how he forces himself into the starting lineup, because I know he's only 18, but Rooney, Michael Owen, these players forced themselves into starting lineups of Liverpool and United, and Ronaldo did it as well. Mason Greenwood, I know he's only 18, but he's got to find a way into that United side. And if you're going to find Sancho on the right, you're going to put Rashford and Martial in, where Greenwood's going to have to dislodge one of those in the next 18 months to go and have the career he wants to have, because that's what they do. If he's going to be a Ballon d'Or winner, you're playing first-team football when you're 20, 19. So that's the interesting thing with him. I think he's so similar to Van Persie, but he can be better. I agree with Adam. And I just think he will force his way in. I don't know whose spot he's going to take. It could be Martial's. It could be... But the only thing I don't think he might be Martial's is because I do agree with Ricky. I don't think he's ready to play as a number 9 yet. I don't think he's ready to do that. I think he needs to play off somebody, which is why he tends to get a lot of goals in the last 10 minutes when the game's a bit stretched and there's a bit more space. I think playing him from minute 1 in the modern game, he ain't a Martial, he ain't a Harry Kane, and he ain't a Jimenez or anyone like that yet. But very exciting.
Yeah,
but I
like
think
you said, just touch on that there, Matt. Like you said, the number 9, you look at the goals that he's scored, they've not all been inside the box, number 9 goals, have they, like you said? So, you know what, he's got qualities of a 10 and a 9 in him. It just depends which way, with him being at the young age that he's at, which way he decides to go down, which one he tries to push, which player is he going to target, what position is he going to target at United and that team at the moment to go for. And it's a decision, like you said, 19, 20 is the mark, innit? He's 18 now. So in the next year is the big year for him. It's when we'll find out. Like Ricky said, we'll find out. I'm confident in him. That's it's just what he gives me as a fan in terms of what I've seen so far right now, like what he's done this season.
I hope so. I hope he gets it.
Yeah. Ricky, I did want to bring in about what you wanted to talk about the Troy Deeney and Fred thing. I'll just give you the floor on that because you were quite interested in what Troy Deeney had said about Fred and how they targeted him, and to get that from a Premier League club player exposing, tactical flaws potentially of United is quite an interesting thing for us fans if you're interested in that sort of thing.
Yeah, I was amazed, if I'm honest. I know Flex said he's just being dead honest, and so he was. But I mentioned on Twitter that everything else he said was just his own opinion, and somebody jumps on me because I liked his opinion about Marshall. That's fair enough. I didn't like his opinion about one or two other things. But this is not his opinion. He's actually stating tactics that Watford employed when they played us. Now, obviously, the tactics are decided by the manager or the coaching staff or both, and the squad or the team are told what to do. So Watford earmarked Fred as a weak link. Now, I know Deeney didn't use those exact words. He didn't say we earmarked him as a weak link. He didn't use those words, but he did say that we targeted Fred. We were told to target Fred. It was our tactic. So if they're targeting Fred, they've picked him out as a weak link. So a couple of things about that. First of all, I'm a bit surprised that you said that about a fellow pro. I'm sure Fred has probably heard about this by now, so I don't think Fred would be too happy about that. It's not great for a fellow professional to say, look, when we play you, we don't think you're as good as the other players. Basically, that's what he's saying, or that's what they're being told. You've got to target him because I think he said because he gives the ball away too much.
I think it's all about his first touch with Fred. Sometimes it's a little bit away from him, isn't it? So, and Watford did. I know we beat them, but Watford did have. I remember watching that game. They pressed us really high up the pitch.
We did beat them at Old Trafford, but we didn't beat them at Vicarage Road, and Fred played in the game. So that was part of their. After that game, make no mistake, they will have been happy with lots of different tactics that they employed, and will have been in the dressing room backslapping and saying, brilliant, you did this, you did that, and that will have been one of the things. So he's actually telling the public what Watford decided to do. Now, somebody said to me, I'm surprised he mentioned it because I don't think the manager would be too happy with him actually giving away their tactics, no matter who it's against. They've got to play him again, haven't they, at some stage next season?
Well, you like that. You're staying there, Ricky, mate. I just want to jump in there. But like you said, them tactics, I think Mr. Dinosaur, Mr. Ostrich, whatever you want to call him, Pearson, won't take that lightly, what Troy Deeney said there, because they had similar tactics against United at Old Trafford that they deployed down at Vicarage Road early on the season. We were at that game. That was a nightmare that day. But they tried to start it out straight away. And United actually, give praise to Wally, actually, but more to like the likes of Harry Maguire, because the first minute of the game against Watford, there was no chance that Watford were going to bully us. Maguire just went straight through the back of Deeney and absolutely flattened him. I remember seeing Deeney on the floor holding his hand up saying he's okay, but he was winded for about 5 minutes after that. And it set a tone in the game. When they're talking about Freds, they would have been both games, I'd feel, because they have got one of the most physical midfields and giant-looking midfields that there is in the Premier League, Watford. The physicality, they look like hurdlers and sprinters, a lot of them. They look physical specimens, every single one of them. And we got bullied in that game at Vicarage Road, and a lot did go through Fred. It wasn't until we got composure when Pogba came on the pitch that we looked like we were going to compete. And then again, you look at the size of Pogba straight away, it's the physical presence. We did not have that in that game. And they ran us ragged in that midfield just through simply pressing us and panicking us and out-muscling us in that midfield. And it was a clear tactic in both games. It's just the second time around, United were in a better place and we actually stood up to them. And in the end, we have got better players than them. If you get past that first press, then that nullified them completely. They had nothing in that game and they slowly drifted away. But what Vicky's saying now is dead right. To target Fred, you could see someone like Pearson employ them tactics straight out the box to go for United there. If you give United the ball, then you're going to win the game because they don't do anything with it. That early on in the season was the case. You throw a Bruno Fernandes in there with the backup of Matic and a McTominay, then straight away you're looking at a different animal, which we found over the last few weeks. But Fred has improved alongside that. That would have been a good learning curve for Fred, that game. It really would have.
It also begs the question, it's got to beg the question, do other clubs have the same tactic? Do they think the same thing? I mean,
yeah, well, giving the ball to United is definitely one. I think Mourinho was the first person to find Van Gaal out for that, wasn't it? I mean, when we probably didn't have enough quality in our team under Van Gaal to play the way Van Gaal wanted in the first place. But Mourinho, I remember the run we was on, we was beating every top team. I think it was City, we beat Liverpool, and then we came up against Mourinho, and all Mourinho said was, and I remember him coming, I don't know who it was, what player came out, and he said the tactics were, give United the ball. I think we had like 60-odd% possession at Stamford Bridge, and they had one attack and scored from Hazard, a moment of quality, which Mourinho builds a lot of his teams around, having a superstar and then a solid setup to go. But he would always have a superstar who would win him a game, which he has lived off a lot in his managerial career. But he was the first person to figure United out in that. Give him the ball and they don't know what to do with it. And eventually we'd make a mistake and lose a game. And that's what I think a lot of, like Vicky said then, do other clubs and managers use the same tactics as what like a Pearson would do? And you know what? It's proved effective against us a lot of part of this season because West Ham, Newcastle away, Burnley at home, all these small clubs. And with that type of manager, I mean, it was Pellegrini wanted it at West Ham, I think, but Steve Bruce, Old English. Then you're looking at Burnley, Sean Dyche does it every time to us at Old Trafford. We not beat Burnley now long. And they've found a way to play against United. It's when we play them at their place and they've actually got, they've got to be like the team to actually come up with a tactic different to that, or like the expectation is on them when they fall short. But Ricky's nailed it there pretty much by saying it's a similar tactic, and especially with the old school managers, and they have hit that tactic every time, I feel, when they've played United.
Well, we've overrun a little bit there, but it's just flown by as it does when it's a good show. Thanks, everyone.
That's my fault.
No, it's all right, Adam. Smash a like on the video, everyone. It's nice to get the fan cameras on in this not nice time. So good to keep getting them on and getting their opinions. Really appreciate Adam and Ricky coming on. If you did, please smash a like on the video. And thanks for coming on, Ricky.
No problem, mate. Enjoyed it.
And thanks for coming on, Adam. We didn't ask you how you've been keeping, actually. We have been asking everyone what they've been up to. How are you finding it?
Yeah. It's not easy, mate. Sorry, go ahead. So, no, it's obviously
I'm staying in.
My circumstances are like, I'm a business owner. So when you were talking about that full-on issue with Liverpool and that, my opinion on that was exactly the same. It's an absolute disgrace because I literally am now. I just applied for a job as a driver for Tesco to pay my staff because the government still haven't come through with that 80% wage yet. It's still not in. And when they're hearing it's not going to be till the end of April. So we have got a lot of way. It's hard being self-employed or a business owner right now. I feel for everyone in the situation, but the main thing is everyone's health at the moment. And I mean, we're going through nothing compared to what the NHS are. So credit to them. And to be honest, all the other moaning can just come second to that at the moment.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming on, lads. And we'll definitely get you on again. Mate. And hopefully sometime we'll start to see the curve turning. And then we can start getting the football back as well. But it's all about, as Adam says, staying safe and staying well and staying home. That's the big thing at the moment. Stay home as much as you can, and we'll get through this. But thanks, everyone, for watching. Smash a like. Tomorrow night, it's the call-in, so you can call in yourselves. And I'll be back in the morning with a United update as well. Speak to you all soon.